We are now in the midst of the most intense and focused negotiations for peace since the beginning of this war, for true lasting peace. And we are not talking about a pause or a temporary uncertain solution. We are working closely with partners to finally end this Russian war against Ukraine.
Amid the ongoing escalation of the Russia-Ukraine war, multiple explosions were reported across Kyiv on December 16th, according to the Kyiv Independent, signaling yet another night of intensified attacks on the Ukrainian capital. The first blast in central Kyiv was reported around 10:52 p.m. local time, breaking the silence of the night and prompting widespread alerts across the city's densely populated residential districts. Reports indicate that Russian drones targeted several key infrastructure sites across Kyiv, causing visible damage and triggering emergency power shutdowns in parts of the capital. Kyiv's mayor, Vitaly Klitschko, confirmed that Ukrainian air defenses were fully activated in the Obolonsky district, intercepting several incoming drones amid loud explosions and tracer fire lighting up the sky. This latest attack continues Russia's recurring campaign against Ukraine's energy grid during the winter months, leaving thousands without heat and power at a time when temperatures are plummeting. Just last week, the northern city of Sumy was completely left without power after a series of similar drone and missile attacks by Russia on December 8th, as reported by the Kyiv Independent. According to Sumy Oblast Governor Ry Horov, more than a dozen Russian drones struck multiple sites across the region, severely impacting electrical substations and civilian infrastructure. In retaliation, Ukrainian drones reportedly struck an oil refinery located in Russia's Krasnodar Krai region, a move that highlights Kyiv's expanding capacity to reach deep into Russian territory. The refinery strike occurred overnight on December 17th, beginning just moments before midnight and continuing well into the early hours, according to early local reports. Krasnodar Krai, geographically located in southern Russia near the coasts of the Azov and Black Seas, is a vital industrial hub that supports Moscow's energy logistics and fuel supply chains. Meanwhile, Saratov, home to several important military aviation facilities, lies roughly 330 kilometers from Ukraine's northeastern border, placing it within extended drone strike range. This recent incident follows a broader Ukrainian offensive on December 14th, during which a wave of long-range drone strikes targeted multiple Russian military bases and oil depots across the country. Just days earlier, on December 12th, Ukraine is said to have struck the massive Slavneft YANOS refinery in Yaroslavl, one of Russia's largest fuel processing complexes, causing significant disruption to its output. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky publicly commented on the ongoing diplomatic efforts led by former US President Donald Trump, noting measured progress on potential peace discussions amid the intensifying violence.
We are now in the midst of the most intense and focused negotiations for peace since the beginning of this war, for true lasting peace. And we are not talking about a pause or a temporary uncertain solution. We are working closely with partners to finally end this Russian war against Ukraine, and through Ukraine, again, the very essence of life in Europe. And that's why now we need the same strong political support that we had at the beginning of this war. Back then, the future was shaped by our joint efforts in defense. Today, the future depends on our shared political positions and political decisions. They once needed to root out every cause of this war. The current Russian leader, and after him, all of his propagandists often use the term root causes of the war, as if there is something inevitable that forces Russia to keep fighting, and as if the reasons of Russia's wars were not inside Russia and not a part of its own nature, but instead located somewhere outside, somewhere in Ukraine, in Europe, in NATO, or elsewhere. They always blame others and always try to explain their wars through someone else's actions, as if the reason for their aggression is never in Moscow, but always in their neighbors. Let's look at Russia's history since 1991. From then until today, Russia has changed. It has been poor and rich. It has gone from oligarchy to dictatorship, but one thing has remained the same. It keeps bringing war and hatred. From Chechnya to the Balkans, from Moldova to Syria, from countries in Central Africa to Ukraine, Russia chooses conflict over peace.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.